Hello, I'm Lauren Green, and you're in the Strategy Room. Immigration is shaping up to be one of the most important issues in the 2016 general election. On the Democratic side, Hillary Clinton and Bernie Sanders are vying for Latino voters while spreading a message of open borders. Meanwhile, Republican frontrunner Donald Trump is building a loyal base of followers with his promise to build a wall along the U.S.-Mexico border. So how will America vote on this issue? Here to weigh in are Iona College professor Jeanne and political commentator Tom Basile. Welcome to you both.
Good to be here.
Okay, so Jeanne, what do you think will happen with this immigration? I mean, we're very polarized in terms of how the GOP and the Democratic candidates are looking at this, especially if you consider it's Trump who's representing the GOP.
Yeah, I mean, this is the issue that Trump has made his name on. You know, right from when he announced in New York City back in the spring, this has been one of his key selling points, one of his key issues. And I think, to your point of how divisive this has gotten, even when the Pope stepped into the fray, many people took exception to the idea that the Pope should be speaking about this issue and speaking out and speaking to a candidate and getting involved in American politics in that way. And obviously the Pope is beloved by many people across the country, so the idea...
On both sides of the aisle, by the way.
On both sides of the aisle. So the idea, it was just striking to me that people really did take exception to him getting involved in this, I think speaks to how divided people are and what a key issue, you know, probably not as important as the economy in many voters' minds, but almost as important as the economy and the fear of terrorism is immigration, right up front and center. I think like we've never seen it before in recent modern American politics.
Right. Well, you know, Tom, Trump recently, he got the endorsement of Senator Jeff Sessions, who was very, very hard on the issue of immigration. And, you know, how does that really play, though, ahead of Super Tuesday?
Well, first, it's bad news for Ted Cruz because Sessions was his partner against the Gang of Eight bill, which was in part authored by Marco Rubio. So it takes a key ally off the table and one of Cruz's few key allies in the Senate off the table and puts them in the Trump basket. What's been interesting about all of this is that Cruz also tried to use immigration as a launch pad for his campaign, but his position on the issue has been sufficiently muddied by his colleagues and doubt really cast about his effectiveness on the issue that Trump really has been able to run with it. And in terms of Rubio, Rubio needs this to be a national security election. If it is a national security election, it's something that he will do much better in the Republican primary. If it continues to be about immigration, it seems to be like it's all Donald Trump.
I mean, any gains that the Bush administration made over immigration and the Latino vote kind of is being lost right now. Do you agree with that?
Well, one of the things that we don't know exactly how it's going to play out is that when you look at the numbers, middle-class Latinos who are citizens, who have been here for 1 or 2 generations, they're actually agreeing with many of the Republicans' positions on how immigration should be handled because they're trying to get jobs, they're trying to make it here, they're paying their taxes, and many of those folks actually went through the process. So if you're a middle-class Latino, even some of the conservatives are speaking to them very effectively at this point, we've seen in some of the polling.
Okay, but Jeanne, so Hillary Clinton and Bernie Sanders vying for the Latino voters, and especially in Nevada, now in Texas, how important is the Latino vote for the Democratic Party? And they basically have the bulk of them, whereas the GOP may have just a very small amount of them.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is a critical issue for the Democrats because even the Republican Party has long acknowledged if they can't win over at least some Hispanic, some Latino voters, they're not going to be able to win national elections. And you look at the latest unfavorables, Donald Trump, 80% of Latinos in the United States have an unfavorable view of Donald Trump. So you can't win a national election this way. This is all about numbers. So Hillary Clinton, Bernie Sanders would like nothing more than Donald Trump to keep talking about this into the general because they believe it is going to hurt him in the polls. And the other part of that is as one group of minorities go, the others seem to go historically in the United States. And so, of course, the African-American vote is with the Democrats. And, of course, women moving towards the Democrats. All 3 of those key constituencies, along with young people, they could rob the Republicans of a potential win here. And that's long been the fear of the Republican establishment, that a Donald Trump with this kind of vitriol out on the campaign stage isn't going to be able to pull it in the general election. He could win primaries, certainly, but he can't turn it around in the general.
And
okay.
You know, this is the brand problem. What Jeanne's talking about is that identity problem that the Republicans face with the Trump nominee, because when you poll conservative voters, they're even in favor of a path to citizenship. You know, so people who self-identify as conservatives understand that rounding up 12 million people, putting them in camps, and then deporting them is not something that is realistic. It's not practical, and it's not something that they support. They also, and Jeb Bush made this point very clearly during the campaign, young voters are not feeling as threatened by immigrants as as a lot of conservatives rather would make them out to be. So there is a path forward for Republicans to try and get Latino votes, but it'll be very difficult if Donald Trump is at the top of the ticket.
All right, I want to thank you so much, Tom and Jeanne, for being here. And for complete coverage of the 2016 race, check out foxnews.com. I'm Lauren Green, and thanks for watching.